Of course, we got to start out with young Shedeur Sanders, man. It's what everybody is talking about. We did fan cast that game. Everybody knows by now Shedeur Sanders had a preseason start with the Cleveland Browns. 14 for 23, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. All in all, looked very comfortable in the pocket, looked excellent. And it's not a surprise to me. Again, I maintain that he will emerge as the best quarterback in that quarterback room.
Yeah, you did call that right after the draft.
And it should result in some starts this year. I thought it would result in a day one start. They seem, hell-bent on going with the corpse of Joe Flacco, and abusing the Cleveland Brown fan base even further with having to sit through obviously several weeks of him starting. So, it's cool because Shedeur, he's going to get his opportunity, it appears. But I'll take your impressions of the start, man. How did you feel that he looked? Did you see anything? Did you miss anything that you wanted to see? Is there anything that you wanted to see that you didn't get to see? How do you feel that he looked, and what did you take away from the start?
Oh, wow. Well, I got a lot of thoughts on that, but first thing I wanted to ask you, did you hear the news today about Shedeur?
Yeah, the oblique.
Yeah, do you think
injury.
That's legit, or do you think that's
them making room for Gabriel?
I don't know what to think about that, honestly.
I think it's legit, but I don't think it's serious.
Okay.
It doesn't sound serious, but again, I'm not on the ground there at Cleveland Browns camp, and I haven't read a lot about it. It was just kind of breaking when we were getting in here. So, an oblique injury, we'll have to keep our eye on it. Yeah, so I did hear about that. Because I think he was set to start the second preseason game as well.
Right.
And then all of a sudden there's this oblique injury today.
Following the day after the Dylan Gabriel photo on the sideline with the gas face.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he had to be held out of practice today. Yeah. So, I'm not sure what to make of that. Perhaps, he just tweaked his oblique and hopefully, it's not anything serious that'll hold him out for any extended period of time. But let me put another spin on it, Ben, since you did ask me that question. I certainly hope that it results in the Dylan Gabriel start.
Okay.
Because I believe that Dylan Gabriel's opportunity to get any playing time as a Cleveland Brown is on life support.
Are you saying the roles are now reversed?
No, because I don't think that the roles were ever inversed in the first place. I always thought Shedeur was a better player, but as far as the public perception is concerned, you mean yes.
Yeah.
So here's my thinking. I believe that Dylan Gabriel's opportunity to get any serious reps with the Cleveland Browns is on life support. And I do believe that a start by Dylan Gabriel with the Cleveland Browns in the preseason will pull the plug.
Oh.
So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
If they are having them, fake an oblique injury or exaggerated, at the most, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
So
I just wanted to mention that because like you said, I was like, dang, that's kind of
that was convenient,
peculiar. But I didn't want to fly off the handle and go full blown Koofy, tinfoil Koofy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So I'm like, listen, let him start. I was hoping that he would get a start anyway. I'm like, go ahead and let him start. Go ahead and let the people see him out there throwing the ball after you saw what Shedeur did.
Right.
And again, I'll have additional thoughts, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it first.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I thought. First coming out, I don't want to call them nerds or anything like that. I think it's just kind of working through just the process.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of doing things that I wanted to see, I like the few scrambles
that
he had. I think that he's always had enough speed.
Of course.
Excuse me. I don't think you can be like related to Deion Sanders and be slow.
Yeah,
like,
right. He's got good athleticism.
Like I just don't even think that's possible.
I think that they were
if slow in that household is a 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Anyone else would take that.
I think they were attempting to propagate the idea that he was unathletic, which that was always a head scratcher.
Right. Yeah. So like throwing the ball, I never really had any questions with that. Though it was about 3 throws that I think he missed that he knows he missed.
Sure.
It was like a little lob, I think on like a wheel route or something like that. And it was like a few more, and it was like one bad throw that could have been picked.
Yes.
And then it was another one. But also, I want to say I saw maybe 3 drops.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree.
So there's that.
Yep.
So I'm not really gonna, swing too far either way on that. I think 7 out of 10 times Shedeur makes those throws.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't think that's a big deal. Would you like to see everything go the way, as planned? Yeah, I'm sure he would have too.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that said, I thought he did play well. I kind of looked for, outside of that, like, the little things, like, does he have NFL level escapability?
Sure.
I think so far he's shown that. Is the charisma real?
Oh yeah.
I was looking at, the interactions with him and Myles Garrett and Njoku.
Mm-hmm.
And even Flacco started slowly but surely, to kind of warm up to it. Like you just kind of see it.
Yeah.
So I was kind of paying attention to that because, if you can come in and get guys, 8, 10, 12, and what Flacco's case almost 20 years older than you.
Yes, absolutely.
To believe
mm-hmm.
in your ability, that's stuff you rarely get in the 5th round.
Yep.
My last thought, I thought, could this be the beginning of, like another Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn, situation.
Right. Yeah.
Is that coming on the horizon? Yeah. Or Dak
mm-hmm.
and Romo.
Yeah.
Where Romo was kind of like on his last leg. Well, no, kind of. He was on his last leg.
Most definitely.
And, Dak kind of comes in. And, Dak had a damn good college football career.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, absolutely.
So I kind of thought, maybe is this another one of those scenarios?
Mm-hmm.
So, but all in all, yeah, I mean, it was good. I think it was a more than good performance. I think he couldn't have really asked for a better performance based on the scenario that was given to him. And then to our earlier point of this convo about the oblique injury today.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll, kind of got, I guess, watch and see.
Yeah.
Tomorrow at practice what the news is about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder, is he sitting out now?
Yeah, right. If he'll be out tomorrow. Just to kind of build on some of the points that you made, because a couple of things that I heard the detractors saying about it is that obviously we understand that it's just a preseason start. And he started the game against Carolina's ones because they played their starters to begin with. But I think it's also important to note because they he didn't really get going until, they pulled their ones and got the 2nd and 3rd string in there. Mm-hmm. But it's also important to note that he was also playing with 2nd and 3rd string guys. He's not playing with the number. Jerry Jeudy and Tillman were not out there, and Njoku was not out there. Right. They're all on the bench as well. So it's not as if he's playing with Cleveland's number 1 offense, which, by the way, it's arguable that it might, on its face, be the least talented number 1 offense in the NFL, even when it's whole.
Right.
Even if he had all of the pieces around him. which is a conversation for another day. I don't want to turn this into Cleveland Browns podcast. But so, when I hear people say that, I'm like, yeah, well, he wasn't exactly out there playing with number ones. So he's playing with second and third string guys.
Absolutely.
Against second and third string guys. So it's a fair fight. Secondly, the 2 touchdown passes that he threw were strikes. They were strikes. The first one, I almost thought he threw an interception. Right, I'm like, if you looked at it, because he was,
like 2 bodies intersecting. Yeah,
he was going off the wrong foot. Yeah. It was a beautiful pass. It was perfectly thrown in the right spot with just the right amount of touch on it.
Oh yeah.
The other one was also between the defense. It was thrown in a tight window.
A straight grip it and rip it.
Yeah, it was thrown on time. It was a great pass. And I also thought that you brought up the escapability, the ability to scramble, the ability to, improvise, get out of the pocket, to run, to escape. That also, again, I never bought into he's slow.
Right.
He can't run. He doesn't have any speed. Like that was all just weird. Those were weird talking points to me the entire time. Right. And I think he's got, like you brought up the traits. I think he's got really good quarterback traits. He's got good leadership ability. He's smart. He's going to be able to learn the playbook. His father was an NFL player. He's obviously been around NFL players his entire life. He's not going to have a difficult time picking up on NFL terminology, NFL lingo, NFL offenses. That's all going to be second nature to him because he's been around the NFL and NFL players his entire life, and he's been well schooled in that culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I don't want to belabor the point too much.
Right, I get you. But no, I mean, you're 100% right.
Yeah, but it was an excellent outing for him. In my opinion, I only expect for him to grow from that. And I don't think that those are guys that he had gotten a lot of reps with.
Right, exactly.
That's my final point. And it looked really good for them to not have had a lot of reps together yet.
Because imagine when guys start laying out for him.
Correct.
You get what I mean?
The trust is built.
Exactly.
The communication, the nonverbal communication that you have to really develop between the quarterback and receivers.
100%.
So I expect that he's just going to continue to grow and flourish. And the last thing, a couple of things that people talked about that are ancillary to the game is that the conversation that he had with Tony Grossi, the Cleveland Browns radio personality, I think.
That Tony Grossi initiated, by the way.
Correct. That's what, and Tony Grossi said that. And I thought it was lighthearted. It was fine. It there was not a problem with him saying, hey, man, you're going to have something good to say. Nah, I thought it was.
Not like you threw a cooler of water on him.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you know, you know.
That's a throwback, to something that Dion did. But yes, and I thought it was very lighthearted, and they laughed it off at the end. And Tony Grossi clarified that, there was no bad blood afterward. And also, the coming out with the boombox and the staff, that was actually a teammate that was doing that. That was the teammate's boombox. And the teammate actually carries around that staff. Mm-hmm. So that was his. And also, I mean, I thought that was much ado about nothing anyway. Right. I think the San Francisco 49ers have a team boombox that they bring out from time to time. So, people were trying to make a big deal out of that.
But what they don't want to make a big deal about is how that game was the #1 watch show on across all networks from 18 to 49.
Oh, absolutely.
And how in Carolina, a stadium that seats 75,000 had 71,000 in attendance in preseason game number 1. Absolutely. But we talking about Tony Grossi walking up in the tunnel and being met with kind words and a smile.
Yeah, that's what. Right. I just wanted to touch on those two things.
I know, but
because those are the types of things that they try to make a big deal
about.
For sure.
And
it's really nothing. You know, I thought it was a lighthearted exchange. He wasn't trying to dress him down.
Right.
He wasn't trying to be antagonistic.
Right.
He was just, hey, man, you're going to have something good to say. Now it was kind of like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I heard you've been talking and blah, blah, blah.
I say that to highlight your exact point.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is that this kid has gotten people in the crowd with Colorado jerseys on.
Yep.
I seen old red Atlanta Falcon Shedeur Sanders jerseys being waved in the crowd. Because you got to remember, before the Carolina Panthers had a football team,
right?
You know, you had to choose between the Atlanta Falcons or maybe the Washington Redskins at the time, the now Commanders.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because the South really didn't have a plethora of football teams to choose from. You know, or the Buccaneers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, they kind of sweep that through the rug. Like, you have to like search kind of for that information. Like, if you don't give a damn about like ratings and stuff like that, and then of course there's already the jersey sales.
Yeah, I mean,
so
another thing that I find, another talking point that I find weird, because of course Cleveland, you know, they put out their depth chart and he's still fourth on the depth chart, which is whatever, at this point in the preseason. But then I hear the pundits talking like, see, this is why you didn't want Shedeur Sanders. You know, a lot of people were reluctant to draft him.
Oh, that part.
Yeah, because, this creates a distraction now that he's had a good preseason game. And no, what creates a distraction is when you draft him out of position. See, had you drafted him when he was projected to be drafted, then you could just list him properly on the depth chart.
Yep.
This is what happens when you collude and you damage his draft stock. And then you draft him out of position. And instead of looking like a 5th round pick, he looks like a 1st round pick when you start him in the preseason. And then you have to answer questions about why he's sitting behind a 3rd round pick who actually looks like a 3rd round pick.
At best.
At best. This is the problem. The problem is not Shedeur. The problem is not him creating a distraction. The problem is that you did something underhanded, or something underhanded was done.
Yeah, period.
And then you have to explain, oh yeah, we did something underhanded, and now something underhanded is backfiring, because now, oops, he don't look like a 5th round pick. He kind of looks like a 1st round pick, maybe a 2nd round pick, but he looked better than the 3rd round pick is the point. And he looks better than Kenny Pickett.
Right. He looks like he could be a starter.
Yeah. He looks like he might be contending for the starting job. And we might even have to fake an oblique injury so that people stop talking about how come he's still showing up 4th on the depth chart. No, that's of your own making. And I'm not talking about the Cleveland Browns now. I'm talking about the NFL.
Right.
This is of your own making. This is not him creating a distraction. All he did was go out there and do what he was supposed to do. This is not him creating a distraction. This is you creating the distraction when you do something underhanded.
Yep.
But I digress, because we have other things to talk about.